Robin Williams, the sad clown behind the smile. He was the man who could make anyone laugh, a whirlwind of voices, impressions, and boundless energy. To the world, Robin Williams was pure joy, but behind the smile was a different story, one of addiction, depression, and a hidden battle that comedy could never cure. This is the tragedy of Robin Williams, the sad clown who made the world laugh while quietly falling apart. Childhood and early spark. Robin McLaren Williams was born in 1951 in Chicago, the son of a Ford executive. Despite later being known for manic energy, he grew up shy and withdrawn, often entertaining himself with imaginary characters. The inner world of play acting became his escape from loneliness. When Robin discovered theater and improv, the shyness melted into performance. He could be anyone, say anything, and make people laugh. It was a form of acceptance he craved. The rise, stand-up, and Mork. In the 1970s, Robin electrified the comedy circuit with improvisation so fast even other comics struggled to keep up. He was discovered for television and cast as the alien Mork in Mork Mindy, launching him into stardom. Audiences were mesmerized by his unpredictability. He was a firecracker on stage, seemingly unstoppable. But even then, the seeds of the sad clown paradox were visible. The wilder the persona, the more it masked his private struggles. The mask of laughter. Robin's manic comedy wasn't just a gift, it was a shield. Psychologists call it the sad clown paradox, the idea that the ones who bring the most joy are often carrying the most pain. Talk shows fed him setups just to watch him explode into characters. The audience expected him to always be on. Behind closed doors, he admitted silence was terrifying, because that's when the mask slipped. Addiction and escape. Behind the laughter was self-medication. Cocaine and alcohol became Robin's early coping mechanisms. He later confessed they weren't about partying. They were about slowing down the endless thoughts in his mind. The 1982 death of his friend, John Belushi, forced him to quit cocaine, and he embraced sobriety. But sobriety wasn't linear. Relapses into alcohol followed, sometimes quietly, sometimes in the headlines. Each time the world laughed at the clown, never asking why he drank. The duality of roles. Robin's acting career was a mirror of his paradox. He could embody chaos in Mrs. Doubtfire or Aladdin, and raw humanity in Good Will Hunting and Dead Poets Society. He won an Oscar for Good Will Hunting, not for comedy, but for a deeply moving dramatic role. It showed the depth behind the manic facade, and reminded audiences that his genius was rooted in empathy as much as in humor. Depression and decline. By the 2000s, Robin's depression worsened. He returned to rehab more than once, not only for substance abuse, but as he said, emotional maintenance. To fans, he was still the unstoppable force of comedy. To those close to him, the lows were harder to ignore. The world only saw the smile. His friends saw the exhaustion. Lewy body dementia. What few knew was that Robin was suffering from Lewy body dementia, a progressive brain disease causing hallucinations, paranoia, and anxiety. Doctors initially misdiagnosed it as Parkinson's and depression. In reality, his brain was under siege from an illness no one had identified. The disease robbed him of clarity and stability. The man who had once controlled every room he entered now felt he could not even trust his own mind. The final days. On August 11, 2014, Robin Williams took his own life at the age of 63. The news shocked the world. For many, it felt impossible. How could the man who gave so much joy have been in so much pain? The truth was that Robin's battles were not sudden. They were long, layered, and hidden beneath decades of giving himself to others through laughter. Global mourning. Tributes poured in. Candlelight visuals appeared outside comedy clubs. Murals of Robin sprang up around the world. Fellow comedians wept live on air, confessing their grief and their guilt at not seeing the depth of his pain. The hashtag RIP Robin Williams trended globally for days. For a moment, the world stopped laughing and started reflecting. The sad clown legacy. Robin Williams embodied the sad clown archetype. His life showed that humor can mask despair, and that those who make us laugh the hardest are sometimes the ones hurting the most. The tragedy forced a new conversation about mental health, addiction, and the unseen cost of fame. It reminded us that vulnerability is not weakness, and that no amount of laughter can silence inner suffering. Conclusion. Robin's life was filled with brilliance, love, and unforgettable joy, but it was also scarred by addiction, depression, and a private war against an invisible illness. The tragedy of the sad clown is that the laughter belongs to us, and the pain belongs to them. Robin gave everything he had until there was nothing left for himself. This is the dark psychology of comedy. This is the tragedy of Robin Williams.